Hello, fellow survivors. In today's episode, we'll hear a story about Spikey and how he found himself saved, not by any sort of alarm or clever booby trap, but rather by a horde of a different type, one that's much smaller and that already surrounded him. But first, before we get started, be sure to poke the like button with the stick just to see if it's still alive, subscribe, and very quietly hit the notification bell so that you never miss a chapter of this epic saga. So with that, let's go! Okay, so Spikey, he was pretty sure that he was no longer being followed. Nevertheless, he was really happy to see the abandoned farmhouse up ahead. Now, he looked left and right and up and down and all around him, and he didn't see any zombies. But nevertheless, the house was in the middle of an open field, so he knew he had to run. So he ran. He saw a little abandoned tractor. That could be useful, he thought. And he ran up to the house and the steps. And boom, there he was, finally, in something he thought would be something of a safe house to maybe take a nap in and, get his forces back. Well, he tried to close the door, but it didn't really shut completely, so that he wasn't too happy about that. But since he didn't think he was being followed, he thought, that can maybe wait until morning. They surely wouldn't attack him tonight because, first of all, he didn't see any zombies. He didn't think he was being followed. And he was really sure that he was not going to make any noise. So he was being very quiet, and he said, well, okay, I'll deal with that in the morning. There still might be a door upstairs that I can walk behind me. Maybe the bedroom might be. So, yeah. He carefully looked all around the house just to see, making sure everything was there. And he saw a broken chair, some broken glass on the floor, some signs of struggle, and something bad happened there. And so he walked upstairs now and checked out the upstairs, and there was a really interesting crack in the wall. And at the bottom of the crack, there was this pickle jar with a foot in it. And he thought to himself, I wonder how all that got there. But this being the zombie apocalypse and all, Spikey, he was used to seeing strange things like that. There was surely a story behind the pickle jar. Poor Bean must not have gotten out the crack. Anyway. So, seeing that everything was safe, he lay down on the bed, closed his eyes, ready for a much-needed rest after so much running around the day before. Spikey woke up with a shock. Something was very different. It was quiet. How long had it been since the cricket stopped chirping? With caution, he rolled softly off the bed onto the floor and quietly made his way to the window to see what he could see out there in the early morning's light. Well, what he saw was not a shambling corpse moving towards the house, but rather nothing unusual. The tall wheat possibly concealing the danger that was approaching. Or, he thought, maybe the danger was already in the house. So, realizing that staying there was no longer safe, and not knowing how much time he still had, Spikey knew that he had to act, and act now. So he took a gamble and he ran down the stairs, out the front door, and raced towards the barn out back that he saw earlier as fast as he could, running, hoping to find some sort of salvation within its rustic walls. And he went to the back side, there was a door, and he tried to open it, and it wouldn't budge. So he ran around to the front, and there was this really big door, and he said, oh, jeez. So he grabbed the front, and he pulled it with all his might. He pulled it, and he opened it up, and then a huge squeaking wooden sound, and he said, oh, gosh, now I did it. But right in front of him was this massive combine harvester. So, that gave him an idea, and quite possibly one that would save him once more. So, Spikey, he climbed up to the driver's seat, and there was still keys in there and controls, so he turned it on. He didn't really know what he was doing, but it was on. The lights were going, and the front started going. So now he had a plan. He put the thing in gear and drove it forward and blocked the pedal, and suddenly the combine tore out of the barn and into the front yard where he thought all the zombies were possibly hiding. And what happened was that he saw pieces of zombies flying out. Boom! You hear the thud, and the blades were whirring, and still, boom! You hear them every now and then. Boom! The impact of each one, sending a chilling reminder to him that there are horrors in there that were going to come and get him. So Spikey, though he couldn't really watch this anymore and linger. He knew this was his chance, his only chance, his one chance to escape. So what he did was he took and he ran out the opposite direction of the combine. So the combine was going this way with all the noise, and the zombies were being attacked by it and stuff. And he leaped off and ran out the back, hopefully to safety. Well, as he vanished into the new day, towards the foothills out back that he saw, which behind that were the big mountains, Spikey, he vowed to never forget the chilling silence that signaled the presence of the undead. So, with resilience in his stride once more, he pressed forward, determined to survive another day. And he did. Yeah, that's how we know the story about Spikey. Once again, Sara, she was running through the streets of an unfamiliar city with, you guessed it, a zombie right on her tail. So all the buildings all around her were boarded up, doors were shut, windows were shut, shutters, everything was locked up. She'd go to one door and she'd try to open it, wouldn't budge. She'd go to a window, try to open it, wouldn't budge. Everything was shut, closed down, and locked. So she kept running and running. Hopefully she'd find something that was open, some place that she could hide, maybe get in, and maybe even close the door behind her. Well, she rounded what she thought might be the last corner of her life, because that zombie, he was just right over there behind him, and he was going to eat her. So she was not very happy about that. No. So anyway, so she rounded the corner, and there in front of her was this huge building, this absolutely massive building made out of stone with sculptures and a beautiful window and all that stuff. Well, what she saw was an old church, and it was standing tall amidst all the other buildings. And even better, it seemed like it was untouched by the fires that some were devoured by, and it was still open, and the front doors even looked good. So she dashed towards the church, praying that she could get in and close the large doors behind her before that zombie got her. Well, as it turns out, she was not quite so lucky, because the doors were stuck, and try as she might, she couldn't get them to close. So she ran into the church, deep into the middle bit, and she was looking for anything that she could possibly use as a weapon to help either bash in the brains of the zombie or throw at it, or I don't know, anything she could use. She was looking. Instead, she tripped over a brick. Well, that's okay. That's not so bad. She thought so. She picked up the brick and thought that might be good. And she got a candlestick. And that also now she had a candlestick holder and she had a brick. And she thought, well, that's the best I can do. So she ran to the front of the church. And then she hid behind the altar bit, thinking that, okay, well, here at least I can take a break and maybe see the zombie when he comes in the front, because it's easy to see what's coming in the church from this spot. Well, the zombie made it into the church, and she wasn't so surprised about that, because it just wouldn't give up. It just kept following her and following her and going to eat her brains, and I'm going to eat her brains, it's going to eat her brains, like that. So she was fed up. You know, sometimes that's the last straw, and you think to yourself, well, I'm done. This is just too much for me. I can't take this anymore. So She ran out from where she was hiding, screaming with all of her fury, and she had this brick, and she threw the brick at the zombie, and it bounced off his head, and the zombie was like, "Arr!" And she took the candlestick and holder, and she got closer to the zombie, and was banging on the zombie like this, bang, 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 and then it flew away from her hands, and now she had nothing, and the zombie was closer. And then, at just that moment, there was something that happened that was unexpected. There was this huge, absolutely deafening noise. It was so loud that even the zombie stopped in his tracks, and he knew something was wrong. And Sara, too, she looked up because something horrible, something magnificent was happening just then. Boom, boom, boom. This massive, deafening, loud sound was getting louder, boom, and louder, boom, and louder, boom. Well, what it was one of the massive bronze church bells, weakened by time and neglect, and maybe a little mouse who was chewing on the little rope holding it in place, came crashing down through the ceiling all at once. Boom! It descended with a mighty force, and maybe even purpose, landing dead on top of the zombie, crushing it beneath its weight. When the dust settled and the echo died away, Sara just stood there. She was trembling with all these emotions and realizing what happened. And she found herself safe. Well, the church still stands today, though I forgot what town it is. Somewhere in France, I think, like in Normandy. Yeah. But if you were to go there and listen, you would hear still today that there is a note missing in the symphony of remaining bells. A void left by the fallen bell that saved Sara's life. So, in the wake of that day, the church became a symbol of resilience and the miraculous. Sara's story spread and served as a reminder that even in the darkest of moments, there is always the possibility of salvation. And the missing note hangs in the air. It serves as a testament to the triumph of survival against all odds, a melody of hope amidst the chaos of a world forever changed. Yeah. Well, I think that's enough stories for today. I look forward to seeing you again next Friday for even more stories. Maybe something involving energy drinks. Yeah, I know a story that has one of those in it. So, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more epic zombie tales. And don't forget to, very quietly, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the latest stories. So, until we meet again, stay spooky and keep safe. Bye-bye.